Hello, I'm Nigel. I write and draw the Numskulls for the Beano. I do it on a computer. When I first started out though, I used a light box. It's pretty much the same sort of thing. You'll be using layers and tracing your own work, that kind of thing. If you haven't got a light box, you can just use thin pieces of paper. It's the same sort of thing. Here I am on the computer. I've got to say this is speeded up. I don't usually work this fast. I can't work this fast. This is just a rough. This is my original rough that I've got on the bottom layer. So I've opened up a new layer now, and I'm going to start sketching out my pencils. This is what I will eventually trace. I'm using red because I like to do my pencils in a different colour. It just stops me getting confused. So there I am. Like I say, I'm not this fast. This is speeded up. I like to do the foreground first usually, so that will be done in one colour. And then the backgrounds, the room behind people, that kind of thing, might be done in a different colour later on, just so I can tell which bits are which. The nice thing about a computer is you can cheat, you can change the shape and things like that. Here's me cheating now. I'm going to draw a keyboard out, just square. And this is one of the things you can do in a computer that you can't do when you're tracing or using a light box. There we go, cheaty cheat. Just cheating. Don't tell the Beano. Don't tell the Beano I'm cheating like this. And there we go. So I seem to remember when I did this, did the screen. I was trying to copy the shape of the screen you can see underneath because that's kind of right. But if you notice in a minute, it goes a bit wrong. See, that's wrong there. And I try and correct it, but I thought, oh no, it looks better wrong. It looks a bit, yeah. So that was one of those situations where it sort of slips and it goes right. And that happens to me a lot. I end up drawing something I didn't quite come out to plan, but ended up looking better than my initial plan. So some more cheating. These little guys, the Numskulls, in the last episode ended up on the keyboard. So I need to draw some close-up keys of a computer keyboard. Now I don't absolutely have to cheat. I could draw it properly, the proper way. Honest. No, I could. No, really, I could. So this will be a background. This is what they're standing on, which I've done in red at the minute, just because it was the colour I was using. But to do the guys on the top, like I say, to stop myself getting confused as to what bit's what and which line is which, change the colour. This is something you can do with if you're tracing your own work with paper and pencils. Just use different coloured pencils. I'm just using the rough underneath here just as a guide. There we go. This is Brainy, he's in charge. He shouldn't be in charge, he's an idiot. He overreacts at everything. Panics all the time. And there he is. Can you see he's on a different layer? So that would be like a different piece of paper, really. And these are his buddies. This is Blinky, the guy in charge of the eyes. That's why he's got glasses, he doesn't look in. This is Radar. These are the ears, and Chomper, who's the mouth, that's why he's got the teeth. And they're all wondering how they can get back. Nice. So here's the next bit. So I think we're going to jump ahead now. This is where I've got it all penciled in. So this is all roughed out. You can see I put little scoops on the keyboard, so it looks like one of those old-fashioned keyboards. The ones with the big deep keys. Now it's time to create a new layer. Lock everything back. Create a new layer on the top, which will be my inks, which will be all in black. Any minute now. And again, when you're tracing, this is it's not really cheating if you trace your own stuff. Tracing somebody else's work might be cheating, I don't know, but this isn't, honest. And you can see I'm following the lines that look right, and if there's a line that isn't quite right, I'm not following it as well. So he's looking quite brainless at the minute because there's nobody inside his head, nobody in charge, nobody running things. He's got pretty short hair. Very nice. I wish I could draw this fast. This would be awesome if I could draw this fast. So as I'm going, I'm adding a little bit of extra detail here and there, and changing the weight of the line. So lines underneath things would be fatter to give a little bit of a shadow. Lines on top, thinner. There's a space bar. There we go. Nice. So I'm using a thing called a Wacom tablet to draw straight into the computer. I'm not using a mouse. When you first get a Wacom tablet or drawing tablet or anything like that, it's really difficult. And as good as you are drawing with pen and paper, when you start again with a Wacom, it's really hard to get used to, and you're back to being rubbish again. It doesn't take that long to, doesn't take that much practice to get good again. Nice thing about doing a computer is where you can fill fill in the black bits quite quickly. There he is. So look how cross he is. So when you're drawing your characters in a comic strip, they've all got to be, you've got to think of them as your actors. So you've got to think, what is their emotion, what are they thinking? If you do a pretty good job, you should be able to kind of tell what the comic strip was about, the story of it, without any words. Pretty much. So these two guys looking worried. Chomper there with the teeth, he's thinking, what are we going to do? Radar here, he's worried. Oops. There we go. Nice thing about a computer as well is if you make a mistake, you can just press undo. If you do it on paper, then you can still backtrack, you can still rub it out or use a bit of Tipp-Ex or something like that. Or what a lot of people do, a lot of artists who still work on paper, when they scan it in, they can fix it a little bit once it's scanned in. Bit of shadow underneath the feet so they look like they're standing on something. This is my favourite panel. This long shot of them on the keyboard. Makes me like them. Quite good at drawing, I think. And like I said, they're all acting here, so here's Blinky, he's panicking a bit, his hands are up in the air. Oh, what are we gonna do? I'm worried. We're gonna have to live on this computer keyboard for the rest of our lives. Eating the flakes of pasty and things like that fall in between keys. But Brainy here's got an idea, he's thinking, yeah, something, yeah, there's, wait a minute. Isn't there a... Isn't there another way? There's Chomper, he's thinking, yes there is, there's something else we could do. There is help. Scratching his head, figuring it out. Maybe we could... But he's not quite got the idea yet. I should have lied and said this isn't speeded up. And then here's Radar. Now, if you can see the original Radar under there, I just did him standing straight up. He wasn't acting enough. There he is leaning forward. Wait a minute, guys. I know what we can do. Now you read a comic left to right, you read the panels left to right like you do a book, like you do the words in a book, but also the panel itself, if you notice, the characters are having those emotions, those feelings and ideas left to right as well. So the first character's thinking, what are we going to do? The second character's thinking, I've got an idea. The other character's figuring it out, and the last character's got the plan. We ring up Snitch, who's in the nose. So if you look in the background there, there's a control panel that's in the nose department. Now, I don't know why a nose would need all those buttons and switches and things like that. But it's useful for the story. Ah! So he's surprised that somebody's rung him up, that his boss is on the phone, saying, help us. Help, we've fallen out of the head and we need to be rescued. There he is, a bit worried. Oh, I've jumped ahead. So there's all the foregrounds done. So that's all the characters done, the foregrounds, the things in front. That's the most important bit. They're all your actors. Now we just need to put them in a set. Where are they? So this is where I really found changing colour useful. So I used to do it all with one colour and get confused. I'm easily confused. But now, just to follow the red bits on this bit. Bit of shadow. There we go, the keyboard. I've got the computer here set on in the program I'm using, Manga Studio. I've got the computer set so that it straightens out my line at the minute. You'll see over in the right hand corner near the bottom it says correction 20, so that just straightens things out. I've knocked it down to 10 now, so it smooths the line out a little bit. So I can do these curves. So I remember this bit in real life taking ages to do. But I thought it was worth it because just to show how small they are, the little guys. And how a keyboard looks like a strange landscape to them. Doop, doop, doo. And then after a while, get it, put in some shadows, make things look in front of other things, etc. Super. And there's a control panel in the nose. I don't think they've got iPads in the Numskulls. They have to use old-fashioned technology. These are big buttons that click in and out, and lights, real lights that light up, that kind of thing. This is the speaker I'm doing. So that's where Brainy shouts through. Help! Help us! Bit of shadow. A few movement lines. He's freaking out. Here I'm using a ruler tool which won't let you do anything other than draw lines towards or away from one point. So it's good for little action minutes, like moments like this where someone's maybe having a freak out moment. Because he's never had to rescue anyone before. Bit more keyboard. Now I think I was getting a bit bored of keyboards by this point. There's often a bit at the beginning of drawing where it's fun, and then there's a bit near the end where it might be getting a bit boring. You think, oh, why did I start this? Why did I put all this background in? But then when you do finish it, you think, yeah, that looks good. This is pretty much the same as using a light box or tracing. Some artists use paper, do the pencils on the paper and the ink on the same piece of paper and then rub the pencils out. Others use pencils on a separate piece of paper and trace that piece of paper with the inks so they don't have to do any rubbing out. Every artist does something different, does it their own different way. Oh, here I am, finished. Coloured in. So there he is, going, oh, there's no one in my brain. What are we going to do? Come on guys, think. Let's ring up the nose department. No, what are we going to do? How are we going to help? I'll send down some ropes. So they send down some ropes, but they're going, wait a minute, these aren't ropes, this is snot. Oh, I'll bring you up now, sniff. And they're all like, grossest rescue ever. The end.